by the power of Grayskull.
Hello. Well, this is just a quick review on Witcher 3, because I haven't played the other two games, because I've only ever had PlayStation. I've never had an Xbox or a PC decent enough to play games anyway. So this is my first time of playing Witcher, and first impressions, it's amazing. I think it's a really big game. Like the amount of gameplay is 200 hours plus, so it's absolutely ridiculous. There's just any amounts of tasks and side quests and little missions to do. The story missions alone, I think, amount to about 35 plus hours, which is absolutely gigantic if you think of a normal game would maybe last between, say, 6 and 10 hours gameplay constantly. If you're just doing the story missions, just paggering the story missions constantly, it'll take you about 6 to 10 hours to finish the game. This is 35 hours. Just, you know what I mean? Just try and put that into perspective. In the whole game altogether, including the side quests and everything, not just the story mode, everything is about 200 hours. So it's a gigantic game. It's absolutely massive, which is good because there's nothing worse than getting a game that you really like and you continue the story and then you end up completing the game and you're left with nothing to do apart from run around and shoot people and use the weapons or whatever that you've unlocked. Whereas this, you could try and pagger the missions and complete it, but it's going to take you 35 hours. Never mind all the times you get distracted and you go off searching. And because I played Skyrim, and I found with Skyrim that you can spend a lot of time just exploring, picking up items. You know, instead of doing any missions at all, it's just as fun just to run around and just do your own thing. And this is basically the same thing. You can fast travel, but sometimes I like just to get on my horse and just ride around and just come across things, because that's how you find treasure and you find unexpected items. Another thing I've really found is that the AI on it is quite good, but it's where you can just basically talk to somebody, because if you don't talk to somebody and activate the conversation and you try and loot what they've got in the house, then they get pissed off and they'll call the guards. Whereas if you talk to them first, have your conversation, exhaust all the options, so he's like, right, okay, see you later, and he wants to leave, then you can just freely walk around their house and just rob them blind. And you can take, and I've found some items in houses like that. In the Baron's house, when you do a mission for the Bloody Baron, finding his family, you can just loot his mansion, and I found some swords and some armor, like diagrams to take to the armorer and get it all custom made. That's another thing I like. But it's the same as Skyrim in that respect. You feel as though you're constructing your armor, and you have to go to a certain place, and you're using your metal ingots and everything. So it's very in depth. But I suppose that's what role-playing games are all about. And if on the footage now, if you this is like a little cheat for people who didn't know. I mean, I only found it out by accident by looking on YouTube. I didn't, I wasn't searching for it, but I just clicked on the video and I found it out. Whereas if you go to that guy, the first guy, the fisherman, and he sells a lot of clams and seashells, so you can buy them off him, and they're really cheap. They're only a couple of crowns each or whatever. I forgot what he might have been, florins or whatever, but they're about 14 crowns or between 1 and 14, so they're really cheap. So if you've got like 100 quid, because I know I didn't have more than like 250 quid when I first started the game. I mean, I've got over 1,000 there, but I think the most I've had at the moment is 5,000 by doing this. So it's handy because you can just buy all the expensive items early in the game. What you do is you buy the seashells and all that off that fisherman, and then you just run over to where I am now on the footage, at the blacksmith's or the armorer, and he dismantles the shells and the clams, and you get pearls out of them, and then you can sell those pearls for like 900 each and stuff like that, 600 each. So all you do is just buy the fisherman's stock of shells and then run across the street, across the little square, go to the armorer, get him to dismantle them, and then you sell the black pearls. But I had like 30 odd black pearls and 60 odd normal pearls, and obviously once you've sold as many as the guy can afford, you can either meditate for 5 whole days and replenish his money and just keep doing that, or you can just keep your pearls on you, and then every time you come across a shop or anybody selling something, you can always just flog them off to them. So that's a little way to make some early money early in the game. But if you're a purist and you'd rather just play it properly instead of getting like a cheat or like a fast track to early money, I mean, that's up to you, isn't it? But it's just frustrating when you'll come across something quite rare and you can't buy it because you haven't got the money or whatever. So this is like a little tip for that. So that comes in handy. I forgot it's in Noringrad, the marketplace. It's in Noringrad. It's the main market. You can't really miss it. It's where they're burning 2 bodies in the middle of the street, so you can't miss it. Like, but yeah, like I say, it's an amazing game. It's absolutely massive. So there's nothing short of what you can do. But like I said, it's just one of those games where you need to put in the hours if you're going to enjoy it. Don't be put off about how big it is, because it's really enjoyable. Like here, I've found some new armor and I'm just equipping that. You know, you've got the blue gloves on there, new. I've only just found them. But you can find, like I say, you can find diagrams and create weapons and armor and stuff from scratch as long as you've got the right ingredients. So you might not actually find a complete set of armor just to put on and wear, but you might find a diagram or a blueprint of how to make it so you can collect your own stuff. So it's worth just reading everything, because it's a bit daunting with it being a PC conversion game. There's a lot of options, there's a lot of small print and lots of reading to do. But if you put in the time, you'll definitely get your money's worth. Because I got this with me bundle for my PS4, and my best friend, he got his as well, and he got a Witcher bundle as well, but he went and sold Witcher. He traded it in straight away, without really playing on it first. So he says he'll just get it again if it's, because it's not something he wants to play, but I loved it, man. I love role-playing games. So it's a really deep game to get into. There's a few things like you've got to learn how to fight. That because you can die dead easy. You know what I mean? Like, you've just took on a griffin, and then you can ride a few meters down the road and get killed by a wolf because you're not blocking or you're not like jumping out the way in time. So it's very it keeps you on your toes. The game, it's not like easy. The fighting isn't just the same old, like you'll have a little move where you dodge an attack or something like that. This one, it keeps you thinking. Plus there's loads of spells, there's loads of potions, there's like oils you can put on your blade to kill certain animals. So there's lots of things to look into, and it's very in-depth. So like, I mean, I'll just give it a very good rating. If anybody's watching this and you haven't bought the game yet, or you don't know if you want it, I would get it, especially if you like role-playing games. It's amazing. So if I was you, I would go out and get it. But there's other games, I mean, Grand Theft, games like that, that's absolutely massive. And if, you know, you have to start the story mode again if you're changing generation consoles, like I did, I had a PS3 and I completed the story mode, got gold and all my challenges. So now I'll have to do all that again, but at least I'll be able to convert me online player and transfer it over. So I'm happy about that. But yeah, it's just one of those games where you can just play forever. Like I said, 200 hours, man. That's absolutely massive. So if you think about that, people only manage maybe 2 hours a night, or if you're coming from work, you get like an hour before you have to turn it off and you want to do something else. So you get months and months and months of time out of this game. So like I say, if you like the role-playing games, then it's definitely a must-have. But the graphics are beautiful, and the sunsets, and when you just You know, you'll be riding on your horse, and then you're deep in the game and in the mission and what you've got to do, and then you'll stop and just look around and think, fucking hell, look at this, look at that sun, or look at the way the trees are blowing. It's a very beautiful game, like. Plus, you can get in a boat, and not this ship here, but you can get in a boat and sail about yourself, and it's just amazing. So if you haven't bought it already, or if you're thinking about getting it, definitely buy it. Give it a 10 out of 10 for playability and gameplay. So that's it.
It's called Sex Panther by Odeon. It's illegal in 9 countries.